Hello, this is Rebecca Wells Phillips, and you're watching Two Mics Up.
What's happening, everybody? It's Monday night, and we're back again with a brand new episode of Two Mics Up. I'm your humble host, Damon Cunningham, aka Dame D NYDC. And tonight, joining me on the other mic, man, what can I say? Such promise, such talent, such depth, such incredible vision, if you will, when it comes to writing and bringing things to life. And joining me on the other mic tonight, straight out of Asheville, North Carolina, we have a devoted, woman who's really has a passion about reading and writing. She's published some books, and we're going to talk about all that. So just hang tight. We'll let her do her thing, and we're going to let her share her work. But even on a broader level, she's really kind of never imagined, from what I understand, that she'd have a career like she has now, doing something that she really loves so much. And that's what we're all about, really, here to myself. Like you all know, it's about educating, empowering, and impacting our people in a positive way. And I think tonight's guest joining me on the other mic is doing just that. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, put your hands together for the incredibly talented Rebecca Wells Phillips. Rebecca, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing wonderful and I am blessed.
Yes, ma'am. And I look, I can tell and I can feel the energy and just kind of doing the work leading up to tonight's conversation. It really goes so deep into so many different things that you're working on. But Rebecca, I always have to start at the beginning, like any
Yes,
story. You're an author, we got to do a little background, and
yes.
I want to start with who is Rebecca Wells Phillips, the person when
hmm
she's not wearing her creative hat and providing us with such talented, books and things of that nature on a day-to-day basis.
Right. I am complex.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Tennessee in a predominantly white town, and my
Mm,
parents were in politics. So,
wow.
as a child, I learned to be an adult. And so now that I'm in my 50s, I am learning who I really am. And I'm not trying to please anyone anymore. I'm trying to change the world, but I want to be a positive influence on others.
Mm,
So
mm.
people tell me I'm like a light, and my nickname that everyone gives me is Sunshine. So I just try to shine light in darkness, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yes. But and listen, not to say that the world that we're living in right now, we have some really dark clouds. That
Yes.
and it's not. I'm not saying it's based on color. It's just the world as a
Yes.
whole. And now knowing who you are, hearing about that journey and really coming into your own, again, still staying at that initial point. Like,
hmm
what first inspired you, Rebecca? To put your stories, and from what I read and from hearing you, these are really your own stories,
They
and,
are.
and really putting them into words. And how that initial spark has evolved for you over time.
Growing up in the predominantly white town in Tennessee, I felt no value, and I had
Mm,
a lot of self hatred. And
mm,
so I did try to disappear myself a couple of times. And I see these children and adults also that are taking their lives. And so that's what led me to share my story in Hating Self by Boo Black, because I wrote the story and I sat on it for like, 3, 4 years before I decided to publish it. And so my initial goal was to reach out to people who felt depressed and alone, to let them know that they're not alone and that we're all going through something. and that we all have a purpose and a reason for being here. We're just we just don't know what it is, but God
Right.
gave us this burden to bear,
Hmm.
and it's going to be used for something bigger and greater if we can just hold on.
Yeah, that's it's really it's deep and it's interesting when I sit and listen. You know, growing up in a predominantly white neighborhood, uh, it's not it's similar, but it's different for me. You know, growing up in New York, a lot of times I was the only person of color in predominantly white schools.
Hmm.
So I that now, and I don't know if this is just from where you're from, because like I hear you say like feeling isolated. I never really felt isolated. I felt challenged because I already had that mindset. It was already in my home that I had to be 200 times better than
Yes.
my white counterpart. So, like, can you speak on that a little bit? Because I
Mhm.
understand it, but like, I don't know if some people really understand how that singularity sometimes really is a weight
Yes.
that can really bore you down. And what were
Yes.
some of the things like I see you smiling, like I just probably but what were some of the things that you found that really helped you blossom and really grow through that? Because I think that's the critical piece that I want people to hear and understand, because this translates throughout life, in my
Right.
opinion. Hmm.
Yes, with my parents being politics, my father was the first black mayor in Tennessee, and we were the only black family in our immediate city. And in
Okay.
high school, there was 1,200 students, and 8 of us were black, and I was related to all of them except for two. In my graduating class, there was 360 of us, and I was one of two black
Mm.
children. So from an early age, with my parents being in the public spotlight, I was required to behave as an adult and think as an
Mhm.
adult. And that was a lot of pressure for a small child. And but
Yeah.
everyone knew who I was, and
Yeah.
everyone knew my parents. So I had to be perfect all the time. And in school, I had to be perfect. And so that, of course, translated into people being jealous because, oh, well, Becky's
Mhm.
perfect. And because Becky's parents are in politics, she's something special, or she thinks she is.
Right.
So, but it was the constant pushing from that. Like I felt like I had to be, like you said, 110% or whatever. And so through that stress, that made me who I am today. And I'm very grateful that, I'm very well educated and I think on my feet really quick. I'm very flexible. You can throw me in any situation. But the pressure as a child, I didn't want it. I didn't ask
Yeah.
for it. I didn't want
Yeah.
my parents in politics. So that's where the depression, anxiety, self hatred came in. And if God hadn't wanted me here, I would not be here.
Mm. Whew, that's powerful. That's powerful, but that's truth. And sometimes I believe we have to hear it. We have to hear it from others, really to gain some understanding. So I thank you just for taking a second just to kind of really speak on that and to transition. Boo Black and excuse me, butterfly blossoms really feature, in my opinion, like protagonists that really are navigating like these really complex backgrounds and journeys, right? So
Yes.
I can see that now from talking to you that some of that inspiration to create these characters, but how much of their experience really is drawn from your own life experiences or the other people that were around you?
Right. So, Hating Self by Boo Black and Loving Self by Boo Black are both autobiographical. So, everything you read is what has happened to me, and it's true.
Okay. Mm.
As far as Butterfly Blossoms, it is adult LGBTQ fiction. And
Okay.
so, even though it's fiction, Sally Renee Grace is learning that she's lesbian. I
Mm.
have been married to a man for 31 years, and I left my husband in February for my girlfriend.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
I've just recently learned, probably in the past 4 to 5 years, that I am a lesbian.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
Butterfly Blossoms is kind of like my coming out book. But there are lots of people out there that are trying to live as society dictates, and we
Hmm.
come from Christian homes, and we've been taught that anything other than heterosexual is wrong and sinful.
Hmm.
So, as I said, once I got in my 50s, I realized that I needed to pursue the things that I truly wanted, and my goal is to be authentic in every
Yeah.
way. So it has not been easy, but this is Pride Month, and I just want everybody to know I'm a proud lesbian, and I'm not ashamed.
You really, for one, I want to say, you definitely live and walk in your light. I do believe that. But you did speak to, because I had too some of my southern roots and some of these, I don't know if they're generational taboos or curses or whatever it is that we carry in our culture. But I want to take them because, like you said, it is Pride Month, and I want to be open minded, and I want to broach the question like, how was it for you though in your own personal life with your own family and the transition of having a husband and a girlfriend? Like, because sometimes I think we push that to the side. We don't
Hmm.
we don't want to talk about that. But if it's okay with you, like, what was that journey like for you, and what has it been, maybe for your partner now?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I'm pretty sure she was a part of that too, and having to go with you, right? You know what I'm saying? So, like, what has
Yes,
that been
yes.
like, for you and your family and for her to get to the point where you are now?
Well, my husband and I are still friends, and we're
Okay,
still
good,
legally
good.
bound because you have to wait a year in North Carolina. You have to be separated for a year before you can get a divorce. However, my daughter, who's about 31 years old, she's no longer talking to me, and I'm not allowed to
Mm,
see my two
wow,
grandchildren. I haven't
wow.
even met the one that was born December 27th. As far as my mother, she passed 4 years ago. I think she would have still loved me, but she would not have been happy about me leaving my
Hmm.
husband because she loved him. And my father, he says he wants me to be happy, but I don't really think he understands what that means. And my girlfriend, she is what they call golden standard lesbian in that she's never been with a man, and she
Mm,
knew from early childhood what she was. So I'm very
mhm.
envious of the fact that she's known who she was for a very long time and she's been living that life. So I think the scariest thing for her is, if you have a girlfriend that's been with a man for 31 years, what's the chances that she's
Mm,
going to stick around? What
say,
happens
yeah.
if she goes back? So
Wow.
it's not been an easy transition. I've lost a lot in coming out, but I've also gained a lot too. So I hope that answers your
Wow.
question.
No, it does. That mean because I again, unexpected, it wasn't, but it's. I think it's certain times when you just hear certain things, I just think you just have to broach and you have to share because this is how we get better. And I say that too because I know like I said, coming from that, I have some of those old values, and
Yes,
I've had to learn as going through this, like you said, 50+ years old now, to be able to see things and reevaluate not only myself but reevaluate my values and let people live and walk in their life and live their life. It's not for me to cast a stone. It's not for anyone else to cast a stone on
hmm,
how someone is living. That's on a plane that's higher and greater than my pay grade and it will ever be. So, but to embrace people and really just hear, I think it's good that we talk because communication is education,
that's
and
right.
it's how you can learn, and it really applies not only to you but what you can apply in your own life. So I thank you, and this is what talk show is all about anyway. This is what we do. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere because I want to take a moment to shout out our sponsors who allow us to come each and every week, sit down, bring such exceptional guests like Rebecca Wells Phillips. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short pause for the cause and we'll be back in about 90 seconds. So see you on the other side.
94 Media House specializes in transformative digital design that elevates your brand to new heights. Whether you need stunning graphic design, impactful branding, or a captivating web presence, our team is here to bring your vision to life. Join the ranks of successful businesses that trust 94 Media House for their digital design needs. Let's make your brand unforgettable. Contact us today.
Experience unforgettable memories with Riddick Entertainment and Events, the premier event planners in Northern Virginia. We specialize in crafting extraordinary weddings and events tailored to your vision. Led by the husband and wife team of Saeed and Michelle Riddick, we ensure your special day is stress-free and memorable. Don't leave your memories to chance. Let Riddick Entertainment help you create lasting moments. Contact us today to start planning your unforgettable event.
Unleash flavor with Tico Rico hot sauce, made from fresh, homegrown peppers for a vibrant taste. Enjoy the perfect blend of heat and zest with our habanero and refreshing Serrano lime sauces. Ideal for tacos, seafood, or salads, Tico Rico enhances any dish. Join the Tico Rico family today and elevate your meals with our award-winning sauces. Visit us online to grab your starter kit and discover the magic of Tico Rico.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're fresh back out the break with author Rebecca Wells Phillips. Rebecca, we've been having a fantastic conversation, but I want to come back and I want to talk about writing itself. And for some people, it's cathartic. It's therapy. And I also believe, though, sometimes it can be really a very deep process, right?
Yes.
But for you, like, can you walk us through, maybe your creative process, from maybe the first spark of an idea? See, you smile because you probably have one already, but to the finished manuscript. And are there any rituals or routines that help keep you in your most authentic voice?
It's crazy in that I have dreams.
Oh,
Whenever I have a dream, I sound like Martin Luther King Jr. now. That's where a lot of my ideas come from. I do believe it's from a spiritual level or a spiritual guide or whatever, because with Hating Self by Boo Black, it's like the title came to me, and Boo Black is a play on words because I hated myself so badly. It was like, boo, I'm black. And then with Butterfly Blossoms, I had a dream, and Butterfly Blossoms was the name of the book that came to me, and Rachel Blue, Bleu. Maybe it was my subconscious bringing me, realization that I'm actually a lesbian, and that's why that book came into being. But the creative process is that I just go with the flow. If I get an idea, I run with it. And so I published Butterfly Blossoms by Rachel Blue on September 25th, which was my 31-year wedding anniversary with my husband. And I self-published through Amazon. And that night at 9 o'clock, these voices were saying, publish now, publish now, publish now. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's the rush? I just finished it. What's the rush? And so it was just like something was pushing me just really hard. So I went ahead and I published it. I think I got it because it takes like an hour to get everything set up in Amazon. And I think like 10 o'clock, 10:30, I crawled into bed and I'm like, okay, it's published. And then a day later, that's when Hurricane Helene hit in Big Bend, Florida on the 26th, September 26th of 2024. And then on Friday, September 27th was when Western North Carolina was destroyed. With flooding, storms, no internet, no communications, no anything. And so I could not even advertise Butterfly Blossoms. And so about a week after all that happened, that's when the voices or whatever said, you've got to do Hurricane Helene book. And so from that point forward, I was working on Hurricane Helene, Resiliency After the Storm by Rebecca Wells Phillips. And I just sent it to my publisher last night at like 9 o'clock.
Wow, look at that, man! Look at that. So we have so much creativity and so much that we can look, forward to coming from you, But there's also like this storytelling side, right? And looking at your work and looking into your background, you too, like storytelling podcasts and things of that nature. And I really love that part because that's thrilling because now it really takes the aspect of reading to me to a whole new level, right? And how do you see the role of being a storyteller versus maybe the written storytelling and how it connects with your audience?
Oh, well, I went to Carson Newman College, which is now Carson Newman University, and I was a double major in a Bachelor of Arts major in Communication Arts, journalism, broadcast journalism, and English literature. And so I learned in high school that I loved reading and writing, and that started in 1987. Went to college in 1989, got out of there in 1993. I have learned that there are a lot of people who wish they could read. that people
Mm-hmm.
have ADHD, or they just don't have
Ooh.
the attention span, or they have young children, things like that.
Mm.
And so, I mean, I love to read, but I know there are authors that are very popular and probably wealthy. I know they're wealthy, but but it's just difficult for just the common Joe to pick up a book and start reading. And so my goal, coming from the broadcast journalism background, I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted people who regularly don't read to actually
Yeah.
be able to pick up my book and get interested enough in it to keep their attention and finish it. And
Right.
so that's where I am. I think storytelling is the foundation for being able to, snag those readers and get their attention. But just my desire for wanting to reach everyone and to make something available to everyone, that's that's I think a great gift, because I
Mm-hmm.
think that everyone should read. And it doesn't
Agreed.
have to be complicated. You shouldn't have to have a dictionary or Google a word to understand what's being said. And
Yeah.
so my stories are, I don't want to say intense, but they will grab your attention, and
Yeah.
then they will hold your attention. And
Yeah.
in the meantime, I hope that you either learn something new or change your mind about
Mm.
something.
Yeah, because that really resonates to me. Like from what I've been able to, I haven't been able to get through all of one book, but it just seems like there's these themes of resilience and a lot of self discovery,
Hmm.
and just in that, definitely now talking to you, I understand where that comes from. But the message, like you said, because for me, like I take the empowerment part when I read things like that. And I think it's interpretation a lot of times on the person. But for you, like when you're writing, like do you see or well not see, but are you trying to deliver a message for someone or
Hmm.
whoever may be reading the book, to take away from your journey? Or do
Yes.
you enjoy hearing interpretation where people interpret your books to mean to them?
I mean, it's really a combination of both, but
Mm,
the whole reason why I write is I'm trying to change the world, right? I'm trying to
okay, okay.
change what you're thinking. Like, if you think that people choose to be gay, I want you to
Mm,
see through my character, Sally Renee Grace, that no, heck no, she came from a snake handling Pentecostal church, and she
right.
knew that she was God fearing, and she had no idea that she was gay.
Mm,
And so,
right.
with hating self, people say, well, there's racism, but it's gotten better. Well, no, you need to understand that it never gets better. That as long as you have dark skin, you will be treated differently. It doesn't matter
Mm,
if you excel and you've done everything you can, you will always be singled out. And so
mm,
that's something I wanted people to understand. I'm not trying to get pity, and I
right.
didn't even name the city that I grew up in because I didn't want to shame that city. But I want you to
Wow.
realize how deep the self-hatred and pain was.
Yes.
It was so bad that I wanted to disappear. And if I had succeeded, I would not be here today.
Mm. Listen, this right here, like it's pages of power. Like, for me, it's pages of nothing but power and all of these things that really built it, that really help really I guess shine a light on a landscape that a lot of us uh maybe want to hide from or not discuss. And I'm really generally affected and blessed to be able to have you on and talk about it. But I want to ask, because time flies and we're on the back end, Rebecca, for any aspiring writer or storyteller who may be watching today's conversation or listening to today's conversation, what advice would you give about finding and nurturing their own stories,
Mhm.
especially now getting to really understand you and know you, especially when they themselves may be facing self-doubt or external obstacles?
I think it's helpful to have a diary, a journal, somewhere
Mm,
where you feel safe in writing. I do my writing completely on the computer in Word. So anyone, teenagers, elderly or whatever, I think that writing your pain down, writing down the things that are happening in your life, that's going to help you to deal with it going forward. And so if you want to write, you can pull from those notes and create your book. I did that in Loving Self. It's really a diary format from things that happened in my life. And I was able to write that based on my calendar because I put everything in the calendar. So I want people to understand that anyone can write, anyone can publish a book. You don't have to be educated. There are people who will help you. If there's a message you want out, all you have to do is ask. If people want to email me, I will be more than happy to try to guide them. There are tools out there that will fix your grammar, your structure. There are people who edit. There are people who create your book covers. Even I've created a couple of book covers, So just write. Don't worry about the nitty gritty. Just put it on paper or put it in your computer, and you can do it. Anyone can do it.
I love that. And speaking of, people being able to reach out to you, I want to give you a chance before we go to share your social media, share
Mhm.
your email, whatever it may be. We'll make sure that we put it down in the show notes, so people, you can go out and get some of these pages of power and reach out to Rebecca. So Rebecca, if you won't mind, just take a moment and share your social media and your email so people can get in touch with you.
All right. So a lot of people are on Facebook.com, and you can find me under Becky Wells Phillips. You'll also see in the description the Boo Black and Rachel Blue. You may see the Hurricane Helene in the background, the book that I'm going to have out August the 4th. If you're on TikTok, again, it's on there under Rebecca Phillips. I can't remember if it's a 53 or 16, but most of my names are Rebecca Phillips. And then my website is www.rebeccawellsphillips.com, and also email. So my email is simple, RebeccaWellsPhillips@gmail.com. So I think those are a way to start.
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go ahead and make sure at least we get her, her Facebook and her website at right now. We'll put her Instagram and her TikTok down in the show notes. Please, if you are looking for help or you're interested, here's a resource, ladies and gentlemen, that you can actually reach out to that can probably help you, guide you, and get you on track if this is something that you're seriously interested in being a storyteller, becoming an author, getting your work published. You know,
Yes.
let's get it out there. I mean, the world needs this creativity. Uh, the art form comes in so many shapes, sizes, and this is still a true art form, in my opinion. So reach out to a creative. Rebecca, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule today to sit here with me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, and I hope we'll do it again.
Oh, listen, well, you part of the family now. So I gotta tell everybody, once you've been on, you are always welcome to come back. You have new work, new book, new projects. Yeah, you gotta do is reach out. We will make time. You are a part of the family, and we can do this over and over and over and over again. So thank you again.
Great.
All
Thank you.
right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. It's been another episode of Two Mics Up. Man, season 8 rolling on is coming to an end. If you want to follow Two Mics Up across social media, you can go ahead and hit us up on IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Two Mics Up. You can follow us and hit us up online at www.twomicsup, all one word.com. We are a 4-time award-winning talk show, none but the realest guests like today with Rebecca. Man, it just gets fine. It gets better and better. And as you see down at the bottom, Infusion TV, my all new streaming channel on the number one network for positive programming, the Mogul TV Global Network. We're in 47 countries, 100 million viewable subscribers on your Amazon or Roku TV device. Go download the Mogul TV Global app today while it's free, because everything don't stay free, people. So get it while it's free. Check us out. We just came back, our second season, 5 new shows, working on 5 more shows to bring you to Infusion TV, plus all the other hot shows on the Mogul TV Global Network. Man, we're killing the game. We really appreciate your support. And like we do at the end of each and every show, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna leave you with a couple of things. May you all stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.
007. Southern.